The Dallas Mavericks have just engineered the biggest, or to some people, the worst trade in NBA history, the biggest and or worst trade in Dallas sports history. I'm Mike Fisher, your trusted and trusted reporter. This is the Fishbowl. We are in Dallas, Texas, thanks to BetUS for their sponsorship. Luka Doncic, a forever Mav, is no more. Luka Doncic, maybe the greatest player in the world, some could argue, certainly Mavericks fans can argue that, is now a Los Angeles Laker, or will be, joining LeBron James and going to LA to take the baton from him eventually in a trade in which the Mavericks get Anthony Davis, age 31, terrific player, often injured, and 6 years older than Luka. We mentioned Cowboys because we've talked in our coverage on this about the Herschel reversal. This has a chance to be the Cowboys' 1989 Herschel Walker trade in reverse. It has a chance, in the eyes of many, to be that bad. One of the problems with it, and you can go to BetUS.com, and get your eyeballs full of not only Super Bowl thoughts, but also NBA stuff. So go bet on yourself at BetUS.com. Use the promo code YouTube150. Get a 150% discount of your investment in yourself up to $2,000. The Herschel Walker trade, the most lopsided trade in sports history, probably benefits Dallas, of course, the Cowboys. This week, Brian Schottenheimer, the hiring of the new coach, uninspiring to many. And what a week in Dallas sports. Here comes Shotty, and there goes Luka. The word is that the Cowboys, the Mavericks, have continuing concerns about Luka's ability and willingness to get in shape. And then there's the Supermax contracts that is on the horizon. For the Cowboys and Mavericks fan base, a stunning week, no doubt. All over social media, you find Mavericks fans saying, "I'm done, I'm out, never again." Not unlike what you've sometimes found from Mavericks fans, you find from Cowboy fans as well in recent months. We will keep you posted on all things Cowboys and Mavericks at DallasBasketball.com and at CowboysCountry.com and here on the Fish Report. Thanks to 73,000 fish heads for hanging out with us here, and thanks to BetUS for being a part of what we do as well. Fish out. On the record, the subject of the cap. When Jerry says we got to be better at it, and then when you say we've got to look at the outside, the fans, their ears fly up. Mm-hmm. Is that a reality?
Yeah, I mean we've looked at the outside before. We were probably a little more tightened down,
right?
This time around because of the magnitude of what we're doing with Dak and CD and Micah. So. But 2 years ago, we went and traded for Gilmore and for veteran players and Cooks, and really helped our football team, we thought.
Okay, I've been around a long time. I swear that the idea of the void year and the idea of the flip the switch, which is what I call it, I don't know what you guys call it, that you guys helped invent that.
Yeah, we've done it. We've been in heavy. I've got to go from here.
Okay, but you can do those things and get a massive amount of cap room, right?
You do certain things. I mean, there's limitations to it, though.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Okay, so if you wanted to place a bet that at some point Steven was going to say yes and then add a but, you win your bet. By the way, you can go to BetUS.com and actually win bets on your football and sporting expertise. Go to BetUS.com, use the promo code YouTube150, and get a 150% discount on your investment in yourself up to $2,000. YouTube 150 at BetUS.com. So, as you just heard, and I think the audio was okay, I do expect you to go re-listen, reevaluate, hit the like button, because it beats the algorithms on YouTube and tells them what you like in Cowboy programming. You like to be able to do a show with somebody who's going up the elevator with Stephen Jones. Also tell your friends, and let's build that subscriber base. It's absolutely free and worth every penny, or maybe even more. So up the elevator we go. And as you can see and hear, there's not time for me to present my $100 million specifics. Of course, I don't need to because he already knows them. With the numbers that prove that Dallas does not have to be really, really tight. Those are Steven's words. Really, really tight against the cap in 2025. So I mentioned to Steven that Cowboys Nation, first of all, I soft hug my way into it. Cowboys Nation is going to perk up when you reflect on the suggestion that a long, hard look at change is being considered. He said, yeah, okay, so we're good. He agrees. Then he adds, we've looked at that outside free agency before. We've done it. We've been in heavy. And again, you're listening to that and you're going, okay, now we're getting somewhere. But then Steven falls back to a pair of old, reliable, rote answers, like he's slipping into some comfortable old slippers. One slipper. Steven says, we're probably a little tightened down more than before this time around because of the magnitude of what we're doing with Dak and Lamb and Parsons. Comfortable old slipper number 2. And then Steven says, 2 years ago, we traded for Gilmore and for Cooks. That really helped their football team. That first slipper, that first comfortable old slipper, does not have to be true. You do not have to be tighter against the cap because you're doing contract with Dak and Lamb and Micah at all. It's just not true. The Micah Parsons contract presently due to pay him $21 million. You can cut that in half when you sign him to a new deal. The $90 million that everybody talks about, Dan Orlovsky on ESPN, still doing it every day. They got to pay Dak $90 million. How can they build a team? No, they don't. They don't pay Dak $90 million. It's just not true. Cap-wise, they can move that number to 50. Cap-wise, they can move CeeDee Lamb's number from 35 to 15, and they can move Micah's from 21 to 10, plus the $25 million carryover, and that's how you get your $100 million or so in cap room. It's really simple, and it's really easy, and it's really obvious for anybody that cares to pay attention. We bang that drum a lot here on the Fish Report, trying to get people to get it. Just trying to share. I'm just a broken down old sports writer, but I'm not a dumbass. I can add, and these numbers are factual. So I'm disappointed that Steven went with that old slipper, and then the other old slipper about, hey, 2 years ago we did Gilmore and Cooks, and I'm already seeing your response. And by the way, I will read all of your responses. Your response is, but that was 2 years ago. Those were clever deals. Those were smart deals. Those were helpful deals, but they didn't help enough. Cowboys gave up to the Colts for Gilmore a 5th round pick. Heck of a deal. They gave up by 5 and a 6 to the Texans for Cooks. Heck of a deal. They were fruitful and they were smart, but that was 2 years ago, and the result was not fruitful or smart enough because it didn't give them title contention. So now Steven's out of the elevator. He's getting ready to zip away. Eberflus is down the hall. And I bring up void years, and I bring up flipping the switch. And maybe I do this in part because I want Steven to know that I know. Maybe I do it in part because I do want to acknowledge the credit that the Joneses deserve. As you hear me say to him, you guys helped invent these concepts. As if to say, why are we now pretending that they don't exist? So I bring up void years and I bring up flipping the switch as it relates to the present deals for Dak and Lamb. And then Steven budges just a bit. And he says, you can do certain things. And now your ears are allowed to perk up a little bit again. Ding. But then he adds, there's limitations to it though. And there are. There are limitations. Just like every other team has limitations. But if you ask this year's 2 Super Bowl general managers, Brett Veach in Kansas City and Howie Roseman in Philadelphia, you will hear them use terms like super aggressive to describe their style and to explain how they've stayed on top. And they have stayed on top. The Chiefs are in the Super Bowl for the 5th time in 6 years, right? And your NFC East rival Eagles in the big game for the 3rd time in 8 years. That's staying on top. Stephen, in his mind, believes stay good. Stay good, and you always have a chance at that brass ring. In Kansas City and the Eagles, they're saying, no, you stay good. We're going to stay great by being super aggressive. And it's worked. The evidence sits there in front of you. And Stephen and Jerry both, yeah, but the cap with the Eagles, what about it? When? They've been saying, oh yeah, but the cap with the Eagles. They've been saying it for 5 years. So little wonder it bothers you in Cowboy Nation to hear Stephen address the same cap issues that those teams address by citing limitations. You don't hear Howie and Brett talk about limitations very much. You hear them talk about being super aggressive. During the presser, Jerry said of y'all being mad at him, I understand that I'm mad at me right now too, but the issue's going to be what we're going to do about it. I'm the best man to do something about it. And then Stephen later added, you always have to evaluate yourself when you're not having success. You have to look at it. So after 29 years, and thank you to 73,000 fish heads in Cowboy Nation for playing along with us. Thank you for Bet US as well. For 29 years, after 29 years, the Joneses owe it to their audience, you, and they owe it to themselves. I don't want Jerry's legacy to be this, that we manage the cap real good. We don't ever win, but boy, we manage the cap real good. I don't want that to be his legacy. They owe it to the audience, they owe it to themselves, to be the best men by first admitting that they are not having success, and then by taking action. I didn't get a chance to say this in the elevator to Stephen, but we'll say it here, and it'll resonate. Stephen will have an awareness of it. Fellas, put down the air quotes and use those fingers to pick up the calculator and pick up the pen and pick up your $100 million checkbook. Fish.